At the Hummingbird Conservatory, I am your virtual voice teacher, and this is your virtual voice lesson on Tuneful Tuesday, June 1st. Happy June, everyone. Happy Pride. Hope everybody had a really nice 3-day weekend. We had a great voice lesson yesterday for over an hour where we talked about something like 6 different exercises and then put them together into like a sort of gauntlet style exercise at the end. So if you join me for that, great. If you found that it was hard to get through, that's totally okay and completely normal. I encourage you to go back to it and just try to build on it a little bit more, a little bit more. You can find it here on Twitch for the next 2 weeks, or you can find it on my YouTube channel, which I changed the name of. It's now Miss Tara Sing With Me. So you can find that channel on YouTube that has all of the videos that I post here to Twitch. Also, just some updates. We're starting a TikTok channel beginning next Monday. I'll be posting 1-minute Mondays. That'll be just these little 1-minute exercises, probably some of the stuff we even do on the channel, to just have something to take you through the week. So if you don't have time to tune into Tuneful Tuesdays or do a series of exercises, you can tune into the TikTok channel on Mondays and grab an exercise just to do for a minute a day, for the week. And you'll also be able to see those on the Instagram channel. So TikTok and Instagram is singwithme_2020. We'll be making our debut on 1-minute Mondays starting next Monday, June 7th. And I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, we're going to do a shorter lesson today just because we had a long one yesterday. So today we're going to be focusing on arpeggios. I'll be discussing what they are, their form, their breakdown. We'll be doing some solfege on them. And then we'll probably do 1, maybe 2 exercises on them just to get them in. We'll be focusing on them more throughout the month of June for all of our Tuneful Tuesdays, okay? But now we're going to start this voice lesson the way we begin all of our voice lessons, with attention on breath, okay? Today I'm going to breathe in, I'm going to hold my breath and then send the air out on a really thin stream. I'm going to really pay attention to my torso today, keeping a nice lift in my form, paying attention to that lower rib, making sure that that's lifted the whole time on my exhalation. And if you're doing this with me, what I want you to do, of course, is always do it at your own way and pace. That's the most important thing. The second most important thing is to pay attention to your form. So I'm inhaling, I'm lifting my cheekbones, pulling the air in really slowly across the back of my throat. Then when I hold my breath, I'm actually still keeping that lift in my cheekbones. And then when I send the air out, I don't create any embouchure, any blowing of bubbles or blowing through a straw. It's just a tear in the seam of my lips to send the air out as the result of pulling the stomach muscles in, okay? So we're going to pay attention to form today. If you're doing this with me and you're seated, make sure you're up off the back of your chair. Feet are planted on the ground, so you just have nice posture here. If you're standing, you want to make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart with a slight bend in your knees, but still a nice lift in your torso. Here we go. Breathing in. That was okay for my first one, but I'm going to give it another try. This time when I inhale, my teacher always tells me to try to just go a little bit further with my inhale. So I'm going to go really slow. And just like when I exhale and I keep going even when I think I'm done, on this inhalation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get a little bit more air. So even when I think I'm done, even when I've filled up my lungs as much as I feel like I can, I'm going to breathe in one more time, just get like an extra little puff, okay? At least I'm going to try. Let's try it together. Here we go. And that felt so much better, especially on that exhale, because I got that extra little puff. I don't know if you saw me do it, but I kind of made a face when I was like, I'm going to grab a little bit more. Because of that, it was when I did the exhale, it was very automated. It really felt like the stomach muscles had to pull in and the air had to go out, and they had to keep pulling in, pulling in, pulling in. Interestingly, I didn't feel like I was running out of air. I didn't feel like I was too challenged by that, like I was dying or it was like a balloon that was popping or anything. It just felt very, very automatic. So I'm going to try that again. I'm going to breathe in, okay? I'm going to see if I can take just a little bit more air. The other thing too is when I do that, if you're doing this with me or you do this later, make sure that your shoulders aren't getting too high on your inhale. If they are, that's okay. Just shake them out. And make sure that your chest isn't collapsing on your exhalation. When that happens to me, it hasn't happened in a long time, but it used to happen when I was new in singing, especially when I was younger. It would just feel like a lot of chest collapsing. One of the things that really helped was to keep the focus on my lowest rib, to keep a focus on that lift in the torso over time. And one of the things that can help too is sort of especially if you're standing and you keep that bend in your knees and your butt tucked underneath you, it can actually help to keep that bend in the knees and sort of pay attention to the floor, the grounding, that sort of thing. If you feel like you're going to collapse with your chest, kind of putting more of an emphasis on your posture. For me, focusing on that lower rib really helps to just keep the lift there, okay? Here we go. One last time, I'm gonna grab an extra pocket of air before I hold. That felt really good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to breathe in really slowly like that, and then I'm going to breathe out on an S. This time when I'm breathing out on an S, I'm going to think about some musical phrase that I need to sing on. I find this is really helpful. I talked a little bit about this in yesterday's Mega Music Memorial Day Monday voice lesson we did, where we did a lot of exercises, but before that we really put a focus on breath. And one of the things I talked about was breathing out on this S, but imagining internally that I'm singing on a vocal line. It really helps. First of all, thinking about music, thinking about my repertoire counts as practice. I had a piano teacher who told me that, that thinking about it counts. And that's true for vocal music too. So even if you're not singing, even if you're not really in a place where you feel good about yourself to sing, if you're thinking about a song that you're working on, it still counts. And then what I'm doing here is I'm going to breathe in and then out on that S, and I'm going to think about a particular vocal line that maybe is a challenge, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just something that needs a little bit of my attention. I think I'll do that now. I'll think about a line that's not necessarily vocally challenging or air challenging. It's just about being linear. It's just about pulling through a vocal line, okay? Here we go. Now, actually on that one, what I did was I thought about like 3 vocal lines. Obviously, I would take breath in between. So let's try that. I'm going to breathe in and I'm going to S through the one vocal line. Then I'm going to breathe in again and S through the second vocal line, and then breathe in again and S through the third vocal line, okay? And you can do this with me. If your vocal line breaks up into more, vocal line being like sort of the phrase that you sing before you have to breathe. So maybe it's a lyric, maybe it's a section of a sentence that has a comma after it where you breathe, what have you. You can do it in 2 parts, you can do it in 3 parts, you can do it in 4. Wherever you breathe in your vocal line, take your breath this time and then exhale on S for the length and duration of the next vocal line, okay? Here we go. That was fun. I'm going to try that again before I practice. That is so, so good. It's so mindful. It gets the song into my mind's eye, it gets the meaning of what's going on. And it also gets the idea that particular phrase was not like a very high or low phrase. It was sort of middle and not really large singing and not really small singing, just singing. It's just conversational singing in this section of the aria I'm thinking of. So it really helped me be aware of the kind of breath that I would need to get through that phrase. It's really cool. I'm going to try that this week and I'll report back at the next Tuneful Tuesday. So today we're talking about arpeggios. Now, when a singer sings from one note to another note, okay, that's called an interval. So for example, yesterday, and actually, sorry, I better take a drink of water. It's very dry here right now. So yesterday, and in some of our prior lessons, we talked about a perfect fifth jump, right? So from do to sol. Okay, so when you go from do, sol, do, from one note to another note, back down to that note, that's an interval jump because you're going between only two notes, okay? But when we add three or more notes that are part of a chord, we call that an arpeggio. Okay, an arpeggio can be made up of a lot of notes beyond three, but today we're going to be just talking about three notes, okay? 3-note arpeggios. And the reason that singers sing arpeggios is because we can't sing multiple notes simultaneously on our vocal cords, right? We can only do that if we're with another singer when we sing in harmony. So what singers do is we arpeggiate the chords. Playing a series of arpeggios right now through the C major scale. And if we were talking about this from solfege in the C major scale, do, mi, sol, mi, do, re, fa, la, fa, re, mi, sol, ti, sol, mi, fa, la, do, la, fa, sol, ti, re, ti, sol, la, do, mi, do, la, ti, re, fa, re, ti, do. So those were all the 3-note arpeggios in the entire major scale that I just sang, okay? Today we're just going to focus on the one that's built off of do. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to just sing that pattern and you're going to sing it like this. Do, mi, sol, breathe, sol, mi, do. Oh, we're going to go down first. Do, mi, sol, sol, mi, do. 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 Now just a quick note about these arpeggios. When you get up to that sol, okay, I want you to use the S as an aspirate consonant to pull the stomach muscles in, and the O is nice and long, but also, so it gives you some space on your high note, but it also has a linear quality or sort of more narrow quality than ah does. So it gives us a little more forward momentum, I think, when we're newer to singing, okay? And then also, when I talked about this yesterday, when you get to that L, it's not sol, so you're not putting it into the vowel, it's sol, sol. We dentalize the L. In fact, we try to dentalize all of our consonants as singers, to make them more in the teeth and less involved with our vowels. Where ideally we want them not involved at all. Okay, so do, mi, sol, sol, mi, do. Do, mi, sol, sol, mi, do. Two more. Do, mi, sol, sol, mi, do. Do, mi, sol, sol, mi, do. Okay, so let's go back up. Let's go back up on that pattern again. We're talking about 3-note arpeggios on the one chord. One being do is the first scale degree, mi is the third scale degree, and sol is the fifth scale degree. Okay, so this is like kind of the most common arpeggio that singers work on, study, do different combinations of, which is what we're going to be doing. So again, do, mi, sol, sol, mi, do. Just to get us out of the basement, do, mi, sol, sol, touching the teeth on that top sol. Do, mi, sol, sol, mi, do. So now we're here. Okay, what I want to do is I want to connect it all on one breath. So we're going to take out the repetitive sol on top, and you're just going to sing it one time. So you're going to go do, mi, sol, mi, do. Get a good breath. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. 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 One more. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. So now what I want to do, now that we have that pattern down of solfege, you can continue with the solfege pattern if you'd like, but let's put a little air on it, okay? So let's do some lip buzzing, okay? Now, as a reminder, lip buzzing is this. In order for my lips to flap like that, I must be pulling my stomach muscles in. I have to be. It's the only way I can get it done. Okay, so the lips almost have nothing to do with it. They're just the side effect of pulling the stomach muscles in consistently. So in order for me to sing, I need to sing on my exhalation. Lip buzzing is a great way to prove that I am. So we're just going to do this connected phrase now in a lip buzz. If you can join me for the entire thing, great. If you're doing it at the beginning and you notice as you descend, you stop buzzing, it's because you've dropped your stomach muscles. They haven't engaged, okay? If you start out and you can't get the stomach muscles going on the first note, but all of a sudden they start up on note 3 or note 4, it's because you haven't pulled the stomach muscles in enough. So it's always about stomach muscles with lip buzzing. That's why I love it, okay? You can also just do it one note at a time. I do think that's harder than trying to connect all in one breath. And finally, if it's too much of a struggle, just continue on do, mi, sol. Ourselves and see about doing 2 arpeggios on one breath on lip buzzing. So that would be like this. If you're wondering what the solfege looks like there, it's do, mi, sol, mi, do, mi, sol, mi, do. So when I get down to the do, I pivot back up for a second round. When I get up to the sol, I pivot back down. So I'm not repeating the do or the sol. If you're spitting a lot, welcome. Oh, so gross. The glamorous life of singing. So if you feel itchy in your nose right now, that's okay. That's good. That means you're doing it right. I never even noticed the itch in my nose until I started teaching like full time, and singers would say, be like, wow, my nose is really itchy. Oh my God, it's Jessie Kitty. Hello, Jessica. Good to see you. Where was I? Okay, so the itch in my nose. I never noticed it until my singers started telling me that they were feeling an itch in their nose too, and then I was like, oh, my nose is a little bit itchy too. You get kind of numb to it eventually. You just get used to it, and that's just the vibrating in there. That's the vibrating from the lip buzz. Let's do a couple more of these double lip buzzes. absolute cement. And I did one of these streams yesterday. So if you're feeling a little bit tired from the 3-day weekend, join the club. Okay, so we're going to go back to a single lip buzz now. Not a single lip buzz, sorry, single arpeggio. Okay, but now we're going to do it on staccato. Okay, so we're going to do it on he, he. Okay, so I am getting just the littlest, tiniest bit of breath on my exhalation, after my exhalation on my inhale. He, just for the next one. And I'll slow it down. He. I always have to remember to go a little bit slower. He. He. Remember, I'm using my H to pull my stomach muscles in. It's a really great aspirate consonant, okay? And then I use the E and the U to sort of magnetize the vowel and get more forward and lifted. And already, just with the lip buzzing and now these two vowels, keeping it all very staccato and lifted, I actually have a really nice sound that's really forward. He, hoo, he. 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 Now what I want to do is let's double the arpeggio again. So we're going to go he, hoo, he, ki, ku, ki. So we're going to do he, hoo, he, and then switch to ki, ku, ki. Now, k is another really great aspirate consonant, meaning there's a lot of air in it, but what I like about it is that it also forces you to lift the back of the tongue into the soft palate. So if your tongue is getting tense from all of those H's or your throat's trying to take over, it immediately releases that. He, hoo, he, ki, ku, ki. 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 Two more of your doubles. He, hoo, he, ki, ku, ki. He, hoo, he, ki, ku, ki. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do a repeated section of the arpeggio. So we're going to repeat the mi to the sol. You're going to go do, mi, sol, mi, do. So you're not going to go all the way back down to the do. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Okay, and let's just do that pattern on solfege a little bit. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. 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 Really pulling in on that S, dentalizing your L on your sol. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Two more ascending. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Last one. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. So now let's stick with a key, the key to the ku, and let's go ki, ku, ki. And keeping those short and disconnected. Ki, ku, ki. Even though we're going slow, we can still keep our notes short and disconnected. Ki, ku, ki. Ki, ku, ki, ki. Ki, ku, ki. ki, ki, ku, ki, ku, ki, ki. Ki, ki, ku, ki, ku, ki, ki. Okay, so now for our last exercise, we're going to do just a basic arpeggio. So do, mi, sol, mi, do. And just to sort of round it out, I want to do the solfege first like that, then staccato, he, hu, he, then legato, mi, mu, mi, because you knew I was going to do it eventually, right? So we'll do solfege, then he, what did I do? Kiki? Let's do kiki. So solfege, then kikiku, then mi, mu. And you don't repeat the do or the sol. You just transition into your next version of it. So do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. And if you're wondering, I am getting little breaths in there. I'm not doing it all in one breath. So I do the do, mi, sol, mi, then ki, ku, ki. Then I can get a quick breath before the legato. Mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Use your ooh on top there to really stretch to your high note, but not stretch with your chin and not stretch with your neck. Pulling the stomach muscles in, stretching with the ooh to reach it. So it's very cavernous in there. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Two more. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Last one. Do, mi, sol, mi, ki, ku, ki, mi, mu, mi. Okay, and if you're wondering, so we did an arpeggio study. We're going to review that again next week, and by the end of the month, we're going to be doing a really interesting combined exercise where it's the arpeggio and the 5-tone scale, and it's staccato and legato, and it's like one of my most favorite exercises. It's an exercise that I teach new singers who are just coming in to kind of get them going. It's just a really nice, rigorous exercise. So we'll be working on that this entire month. But if you're wondering for today, we actually did quite a bit of vocalizing and stretched the range quite a bit. I actually took you down to the F3. That's as far down as I went. If you're in a male voice, you might have gone down to your F2. And then I went all the way up to the F5 on that last round. So that might have taken you up, if you're a gentleman, might have taken you as high as the F4. So we actually covered 2 octaves of notes today in our arpeggio study, which is kind of great. I don't think we vocalized that extensively in one 30-minute lesson before. So I'm very excited about that, and I hope you enjoy it. As always, do this lesson the best that you can. Don't push yourself to do anything that you don't feel ready or right, that doesn't feel quite right, you can vocalize as high or as low as you feel. But I do encourage you to let your breath lead you and let your voice go where it wants on this journey. Okay. So if it wants to go higher, let it go higher. Don't be afraid to be a soprano if that's what you are. Don't be afraid to be a low bass if that's what you are. Enjoy your voice, but let your instrument guide you. Let your breath support guide you. I'm Miss Tara, sending you love and high notes. See you next Tuneful Tuesday. Take care. Bye, Jessie Kitty. Bye. I'll see you next Tuesday too.